Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I am Jeremy Kaal,
And I am Francie G. Uribia.
and we are the hosts for today's TEDtalk series. It is an absolute pleasure to introduce our distinguished guest speakers today and extend a warm welcome to all of you, for whether you're part of our class or have joined us from the other programs. For these insightful conversations about cultural trauma and healing.
We have our speakers, Ms. Ayan Perez, Ms. Christine Angeli Limbing, and Mr. Carl Ryan Casalhay, that will bring a wealth of knowledge and experience to the table. And your presence in the audience is equally significant.
Can't you tell us a little bit about cultural trauma and healing, like to understand how historical events and traumas continue to affect cultural communities and their healing processes, Miss Frenzy?
Of course, cultural trauma and healing explores how historical events and trauma affect cultural communities over time. It's about understanding how these experiences impact a community's identity and well being. Healing involves acknowledging the past, building resilience, and preserving cultural traditions to help communities recover from these wounds and to move forward.
So thank you about that, Miss Frenzy. So together, we will embark on a profound explorations into the realms of cultural trauma and its healing, a journey that promises to be enlightening and transformative to everyone. So please give us a warm virtual welcome to our guest, Ms. Perez, who will be sharing their insights with us today.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, welcome. I invite you to a profound journey today, one that presents time and space in which we delve into the very essence of our human experience. Now, culture, trauma, and healing. With these three words, what comes to mind? Now, trauma manifests as a result of a negative experience. But how does the culture potentially traumatizes individuals or groups? Or how long does it take for them to heal? And what recovers them? Now, we often hear stories from our parents, grandparents, and other elderly individuals, maybe even strangers, about how they have coped with various good and bad experiences, and how these experiences shape their lives. Now, some draw comparisons to our present day existence, in which serves as a reminder of the hardships they endured. However, I vividly recall the times when my grandfather shared stories from his youthful days. He had a penchant for watching historical documentaries, and I occasionally joined him in his marathons. Now, these documentaries shed light on the horrors of war and its origin, and this prompted my grandfather to recount how his father vehemently discouraged them from venturing anywhere near the horrors of war. My grandfather was one of the children of a soldier, and they resided in a rural area where fire frequently erupted. Although my recollection is somewhat hazy, I recall him sharing that his father had been adamant about not following in his footsteps. Now he believed that he could create a better life away from that, to have a peaceful future for himself and his family as a result for the family's dire financial situation. Now, there are a lot of stories when it comes to war. That's a certain World War II. There are a lot of vividly illustrated profound impact on individuals and communities. They've created relationship of war on of solidarity with others who were going through similar experiences, rebuilding their lives with preserving cultural traditions and values, and their experiences build our family and community with strength and a lesson of resilience. Now, war is just one of the most common sources of cultural trauma that leaves deep and lasting scars on everyone or anyone. And it affects not only the physical but also the psychological and social aspects of a culture. It's the collective memory, the sense of identity, and the ability to heal are all interlinked. tied to how war shapes the community. A lot, or those who have survived the World War II, witnessed the horrors of war, suffered from poverty and hunger, lost loved ones, and carrying the pain throughout until today. Their stories serve as a powerful reminder and enduring impact of cultural trauma caused by this war. And it's not just a history lesson, it's a living reality. It conti- uh, this demonstrates the wounds of the past, and it continues to shape the present. It pays tribute to the remarkable resilience of the human spirit, however, the healing power of community, and the ability to catch on to a light, even in the face of such profound adversity. To acknowledge and address cultural trauma, in essence of fostering recovery, resilience, and peace in societies affected by war. Now, this serves as a reminder that the past is never completely gone, and it lives on in our hearts, influences who we are. But through understanding, empathy, and solidarity, we can convert that grief into strength and healing, ensuring that our cultural community's values live on for the future generations. Thank you.
I would like to extend my heartfelt appreciation to Ms. Perez for taking us on a deeply reflective journey through the lens of cultural trauma and healing, emphasizing the profound impact of historical events of cultural communities. Your personal narrative about your grandfather's experiences during World War II has beautifully illustrated the lasting impact of cultural trauma and remarkable resilience of those who endured it.
So as we continue to explore this vital topic, I'd like to invite another speaker, Ms. Limbing, to share their own insights and experiences regarding cultural trauma and healing. Can you provide us with your unique perspective on how cultural trauma has impacted your own life or the communities you've encountered in your community and the methods you've witnessed in facilitating healing?
Ladies and gentlemen, today we start an emotional journey into the world of cultural healing and trauma. Understanding the stories of cultural communities deeply impacted by nature's unyielding forces. We often think of historical traumas as the result of human acts, but what about natural catastrophe trauma? I am Christine Angeli Wylimbing, and I'm thrilled to be here today to discuss the topic of cultural trauma and healing. Let's delve into how historical events and traumas continue to impact cultural communities and their processes of healing. Think about communities living peacefully and then suddenly a devastating natural event like flood or earthquake disrupt everything. This is not just a physical problem, it's a deep emotional and cultural wounds that affects how these communities see themselves and the world. I'd like to share a personal journey I experienced alongside my family during a natural disaster, specifically a relentless heavy rainstorm. It was a defining moment in our lives, a test of our resilience, and a story of how we overcame the challenges nature threw our way. The rain began off harmlessly enough as an average rain. However, it quickly turned into an ending downpour, harsh and brutal. The sky seems to have opened up, and the world outside our house became a chaotic sea. Our surroundings, including our house, were flooded with water within hours. We found ourselves in a terrible situation, with our feelings of security, and our entire way of life threatened by the continuous heavy rain. But in the middle of this chaos, something extraordinary happened. Our family, neighbors, and community came together. We found strength in our common experience and comfort in our own solidarity. As we drained water and strengthened our homes, the sense of community became a lifeline. The misery was far from finished, and the road to the recovery was long and difficult. However, the relationships that were formed during those difficult times were the foundation of our resilience. We relied on our cultural tradition and wisdom passed down through generations that taught us the value of community and the significance of solidarity in the face of hardship. The rain eventually ceased, and the floodwaters retreated. Our homes were damaged by the calamity, but so were our hearts. The road to recovery was long and difficult, but it was defined by the strength we found in one another and our cultural heritage. Our story is a statement to the unbeatable human spirit and the capacity for resilience when faced with nature's intimidating challenges. As we discuss the concept of cultural trauma and healing, I hope our experience serves as a reminder that even in the face of the most relentless storm, we have the power to overcome, rebuild, and emerge stronger, nurturing the bonds that define our extraordinary existence. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a truly enlightening and inspiring talk we've just had from Miss Lin. Her insights and experiences has given us a perspective on understanding how historical events and trauma continue to affect cultural communities and healing processes. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Carl Ryan Casalhay, an expert in the field of cultural trauma and healing.
Thank you, Miss Franzi. Good evening, everyone. Today, I want to share with you another remarkable example of cultural trauma and healing. And it's a story that holds a special place in my heart when I read about this. It's about a country from East Africa, Rwanda. In 1994, Rwanda was torn apart by one of the darkest chapters in human history, the Rwanda genocide. In just 100 days, nearly a million people lost their lives in unimaginable brutality. The trauma from this genocide left deep scars on the collective psyche of the beloved Rwanda, and the path to healing seemed almost too great to overcome. Despite the dark times of the genocide in Rwanda, resilient behaviors emerged. The people of Rwanda choose healing and reconciliation, confronting their painful past instead of seeking vengeance and division. They achieved this through grassroots initiatives, community conversations, which led to the rebuilding of Rwanda. What is especially inspiring about this healing process is the role of culture. Music, dance, and storytelling became powerful tools for reconnecting people with their roots and rebuilding their identities. Traditional Rwandan music and dance offered a way for people to express their emotions, share their stories, and find a sense of belonging in the midst of their unimaginable pain. Today, in Rwanda, great progress has been made in improving education, healthcare, and the economy. Women have played an important role in government, achieving gender equality. This shows the strength of culture and human resilience in healing after conflict. Rwanda's journey shows how humans can rebuild from cultural trauma by using their culture as strength. It teaches us that healing is possible after unspeakable horrors and demonstrates a remarkable resilience. And that's all. Thank you for allowing me to share this deeply meaningful story with you.
I want to express my sincere thanks to Mr. Casalhay for leading us through a deep exploration of cultural trauma and healing.
You are now done hearing our honorable speaker's insights about cultural trauma and healing and understand how historical events and traumas continue to affect cultural communities and their healing processes. And now we are encouraging our distinguished audience to participate and answer the question.
And we would like to ask a few questions. The first one is how can acknowledging and addressing cultural trauma con- contribute the healing and resilience of affected community? Anyone?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the wonderful question. Acknowledging and addressing cultural trauma can contribute to the healing and resilience of affected communities by fostering a sense of validation, empathy, and understanding, which in turn encourage a collective coping strategies, reconciliation, and the preservation of cultural identity.
Thank you, Miss Hope. For the next question, why is it important to recognize and address cultural trauma for community healing and resilience? Yes, Mr. Montalia.
Recognizing and addressing cultural trauma is vital for community healing and resilience. When we acknowledge the historical wounds, we validate individual experiences, allowing for empathetic understanding. This, in turn, helps us create customized strategies for recovery. It also fosters a sense of unity and cultural identity, essential for long term healing and resilience.
And now,
So thank you. And before we end our TEDtalk series, we want to express my profound gratitude to each of you for being part of this enlightening TEDtalk series on cultural trauma and healing. It has been a journey of explorations, reflections, and growth made possible by the incredible insights and expertise shared by our four exceptional speakers.
Your presence and engagement have been instrumental in making this series a resounding success, and your commitment to understanding and addressing cultural trauma is truly commendable. As we bring this series to a close, I am deeply appreciative of your unwavering support and the collective commitment to fostering healing and resilience in our society. Thank you for being part of this transformative journey.